You're on the gig with Hannah and Alex.
Yeah, hey, Andy McKee here.
Yeah. Now look, I believe you've got some special memories with Australia. Tell me about touring down under with Prince.
Oh man, that was really something. You know, I something I'll never forget, but never expected either. You know, I guess it was about 4 years ago. My manager got an email, and so he forwarded it to me, and it was just this lady saying that she managed Prince and that he was interested in collaborating together. You know, so I ended up going out to Paisley Park and meeting him and playing some of my, you know, instrumental acoustic guitar tunes, and then he wanted to jam a bit too, and so you know, he liked what I was up to, so he asked me to be his special guest guitar player for, I think it was 8 or 9 concerts down in Australia in 2012, and so, you know, I did like a medley sort of with the band, but he also had me open the show, and I did like this sort of arrangement of Purple Rain on the baritone acoustic guitar to start the concert, and then you know, did the rest of the gig later with the guys and everything. And you know, I'm used to playing for, you know, a few hundred, maybe 1,000 people, you know, but those shows were like 20,000 people. You know, it was just insane. And I just felt honored, you know, that he, you know, knew who I was and wanted to work together. And you know, we did those concerts, and I gotta say, I guess I felt a little bit awkward about him. I do like to write my own tunes and everything, you know. It's kind of what I do most. So, you know, kind of being somebody else's guitar player, it was just kind of fun for a moment to do that. But after we did the tour, you know, I wrote to him and said, hey, if you ever want to, you know, do new tunes or something, or maybe like rearrange some of your old tunes and do like an acoustic album or something, you know, just let me know. And he contacted me a couple times the last few years about something like that, and even actually just the last time was back in December about doing an album together, and then, you know, just back in April he passed. So that was just terrible thing to happen. You know, he was a brilliant musician, and like I said, completely honored that I got to spend that time with him. It was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was like listening to you talk about him, and he wanted you to have some, you know, pretty wacky outfit, a cloak or something. Tell me about that.
Oh yeah, well, that was a pretty crazy year. I also got to tour with a band called Dream Theater. So like right before I went down to Australia, I was doing these shows in Asia with Dream Theater, and it was like the last show or two with them. And I got this email from Prince's, you know, camp that said, "This is your outfit" in the subject line, and like I was like, "Oh my God, what is this gonna be?" You know, we never even talked having to wear an outfit, you know, and so I was quite nervous about even reading it, but it was like, okay, we'd like you to open the show, and maybe you could start the concert, you know, with something kind of groovy, you know, in a major key, kind of funky, and, you know, start down at the front of the stage. And then you could like maybe walk towards center stage and get a little bit more mysterious and minor, because as you walk, we're going to have this 50-foot cape on you that's going to unfurl. And have images of like the universe and fire and water projected onto the back of the cape. And I was just like, oh my God, I don't know if I can wear a 50-foot cape, you know.
Yeah.
Too much for me, I think. I don't know. It was not really my style.
Absolutely. Now, touring with Dream Theater, like you mentioned, that must have been a totally different audience, was it? Like, yeah?
Like in a way, but, you know, they're they're like a progressive metal band, you know, so they do interesting things musically. So I think a lot of their audience, they're kind of open-minded to creative music. So, you know, all those shows went really well too, I gotta say. We did a few concerts in Mexico, and then a bunch in Asia, like Japan and Taiwan and Korea and stuff. And yeah, every night it was cool, man. And I've been a fan of that band since I was like 14. So, you know, getting to play with them was amazing. And I'm still friends with those guys to this day. We keep in touch, so it's really cool.
That is so cool. Now, so what are you up to at the moment? You've got a tour coming up with fellow Australian Tommy Emmanuel.
Yeah, man. I just got off the road actually with another Australian guy. Maybe you guys or your listeners are familiar with Owen Campbell. He's a blues guy. He was on the talent show, and
yeah,
I think
we love our talent shows down here.
Well, they call him the Angry Busker, but man, I thought he was a lovely guy. We had a real good time touring in the States. So anyway, we just did that, and then yeah, my next thing coming up is touring in the Netherlands and Italy with Tommy Emmanuel. So you know, I'm sure you guys know, he's just a brilliant guitar player. Unbelievable.
Absolutely insane. As are you, Andy, as are you. So you were the first artist, though, to be signed to Tommy Emmanuel's record. label.
Yeah. We just I actually just got new management at the start of the year, and so as it turned out, I'm actually working with the same management as Tommy. We're really actually the only two guys that are on with this management team. So I've been friends with Tommy before that, but we've just gotten closer, since then. And anyway, I was going to release this new live album, and he offered the idea to release it on his label, and I thought, oh, that'd just be great. It'd be a pleasure and an honor to be the first guy on his label with him. So yeah, it's called CGP Sounds, and released my live album called Live Book on there back in April.
You don't really say no to opportunities like that. We're like, nah, kind of got somebody else, and think about that. I'm gonna hand it over to Alex now.
Hey Andy, how's it going?
Just gonna give you
going well, man. How are you?
Good. So was there like one person or one kind of memory that has like stand out for you from when you were touring with both like Dream Theater and Prince?
Well, there was I guess there's a lot, but there was a kind of funny one I could say from the Prince tour. After most of the concerts, he'd want to do another concert like at a smaller venue. But there was one night where we just he wanted to have a party up at his hotel room in Sydney, and so we were all invited up there, like the band, and a few other people. And he had a DJ playing music and stuff most of the night. But then about 2 a.m, he turned to me and said, "Mr. McKee, you got to calm these ladies down." So, told me to grab the acoustic guitar, because we had this like DJ music going the whole time, and so I played just a few of my tunes, and I played Rylan, which were my more kind of melodic and mellow tunes, and he said that was the tune that he heard on YouTube that made him want to get a hold of me, So that kind of blew me away, to realize that, and just the way that he put it, like, you got to calm these ladies down.
I love that. I thought me and Alex would be like the only 7-year-olds that would be obsessed with like Maiden and Metallica. Fellow metalhead over here.
Yeah. I got into metal when I was young, man. When I was probably about 7 or 8 years old, I started to get into Iron Maiden. Actually, I've got a older sister that she was listening to rock music, when I was growing up. So I got way into it really early. I had long hair, so.
Like Alex over here.
Totally, yeah. When we go to the supermarket, with my mom, everyone would tell my mom, "Oh, your daughter's so lovely,"
I was about to ask, do you miss your mullet? I remember seeing a couple of photos of it.
Well, yeah, I did grow it out later on to have just kind of a longer cut all around. I did have a mullet for a while. It was pretty ridiculous, but yeah, sometimes I do miss it. But I kind of started to lose some on top, so I couldn't rock the skullet. That'd be even worse.
Oh no, I would have loved to see that. Can we bring that back? Hey, Alex. I mean, I'm a guitar player, but Alex kind of takes it to a next level. Can you guys just talk guitar and kind of like what guitars you play and all that fancy, dorky stuff that's going to go right over my head?
Yeah, sure. You want me just to kind of go right into that, like what guitars I use and tech gear and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. I use Greenfield acoustic guitars. They're made by a guy named Michael Greenfield in Montreal, Canada. I met him at the Canadian Guitar Festival like 12 years ago, and was just blown away by his instruments. So you can see a couple down there. Acoustic guitar. And there's this harp guitar actually that I've got right here is a harp guitar that he made. I bothered him for years to make a harp guitar for me, and he finally caved in and built this one for me. So this is a harp, kind of a standard harp guitar. It's got 6 guitar strings down here in the neck, and then 6 sub bass strings on top. And this one actually also has sharpening levers up here. I don't know if you can see them, but you can like sharpen the bass notes there.
That's insane.
And there's a couple of bevels on the harp guitar too here, like for your arm when you're resting your arm down there.
Yeah.
It doesn't cut into your arm, so it's more comfortable and all that. There's a couple of other ones over there, but you can't see them. But so I just play Greenfields really on the acoustic side. Then the electric guitars, I don't really tour and really even record electric guitar. I've done a guitar solo on one of my tunes called Lumine from my Mythmaker EP. There was an electric guitar solo on that, but I haven't really gotten into recording electric guitar that much. But all those are pretty much Ernie Ball Music Man guitars. I do have a couple Strats back there.
Yeah, they're pretty.
There's an Eric Johnson Strat and What's the other one? David Gilmour Strat.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, so, but yeah, those are kind of my main guitars. I've got more, but they're just kind of old ones that I just never really gotten rid of guitars. I don't know why. So my wife's, annoyed with me. We got closets with guitars in it and stuff, but.
No, that's insane for like people listening that can't see you because we're on Skype with the video with Andy. When he first started talking to us, I actually thought he was in a music shop because there are so many guitars behind him. But nah, it's just his house. I'm like, it's insane. I thought I was doing well with 3. Hey, look, speaking of guitars, Andy, you've got a harp guitar. It's looks pretty beautiful. I'd love to hear you play. Are you able to give us a song?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Let me see. Let me turn this thing on. I've got a little thing called a Tonewood amp hooked up to it, so there's a little bit of reverb you'll be able to hear. But I think if you don't mind, I'd like to play actually a song written by a guy named Michael Hedges. He was a guy that inspired me,
We know him, yeah.
Yeah. He's the first time I ever heard a harp guitar was in his hands, So I'd like to play a tune from him. He passed away, many years ago, so maybe some of your listeners haven't heard of him. So in any case, here's a tune from the late Michael Hedges. It's called "Because It's There" on the harp guitar.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
That's just been the absolute highlight of my life.
That's amazing.
Just see, oh my god, just witnessing you do that. You see that on YouTube and on videos people put up of your concerts, and you just, that was awesome. So, what guitars are you touring? Do you tend to take on tour with you? Because obviously you can't take that whole wall with you.
No, yeah. Well, it kind of varies. I'll either take 2 or 3 with me. I've got a standard pitch acoustic guitar and a baritone acoustic guitar, and then I've got the harp guitar.
Yeah.
So if I can, I'll take all three. If it's like a longer tour, I'll probably take all three out to Europe here coming up. But if it's like a shorter tour, maybe I'll just take a couple. I'll usually take the harp guitar just because it's so unusual, and people are...
That's pretty normal looking to me.
People are really curious about it, and I mean, you take it out of the case and people are impressed, so you really don't even have to play it, and people are like, wow.
That's what I might do. I might just walk around with one and be like, yeah, look at me.
Well, she must be good. Yeah, so, I'll usually take the harp guitar and then either the baritone or the standard, because the other thing is, like, you got to think about flying with these instruments, and I do have some pretty good cases, but, airlines will charge you, for your luggage. I try to fly with one airline so I can get, miles or get status so you can take three without having to pay for the, it's just a bunch of logistical stuff. But anyway, so yeah, it's either all three or just a couple of them.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, how have people like Preston Reed and Don Ross have an influence, and like Michael Hedges have an influence on your playing?
I wouldn't even be doing this, I think, if I hadn't heard those guys. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, I was kind of into rock music, and so when I started the guitar, I was into the electric guitar, really. And there's a guy named Eric Johnson, a really great electric, guitar player who I heard when I was 12 years old. He actually had a song on the radio, which was really unusual to hear a instrumental electric guitar player, with a song on the radio. But he had this tune called Cliffs of Dover, and I heard that and was just like, wow, I want to play the guitar. I was just blown away, and so it wasn't until I heard the guitar played that way that I wanted to play it myself. I'd been into Metallica and a lot of bands like that, but I was never like, yeah, I want to play guitar. So I just heard, somebody like practically singing with the guitar, with these great melodies that, were just coming through on the guitar. So he made me want to play, and I was really into the electric for quite a few years. But when I was 16, I'm pretty sure it was either 16 or 17, I actually saw Preston Reed on my birthday, and my cousin took me to go see him, and that was just like the first moment where I was like, oh my God, the acoustic guitar has a lot of possibilities. Like you could change the tuning up, and you can use the guitar for percussive sounds, like it's a hollow drum essentially. So you could hit the guitar body. And I just also like the approach of fingerstyle guitar, where you're trying to play melodic ideas and harmonic ideas and rhythmic ideas all at once. I thought that was really the best way for me to be able to express myself with the guitar, because I just felt so drawn to that.
So,
yeah.
So you mentioned before something I just want to go over. You said you find yourself wanting to sing with the guitar. I'm sure you and Alex will be able to talk about this because you're both fingerstyle guitarists. How do you express yourself on a guitar with no lyrics, but when you can hear it, you can hear the emotion and know, hear the lyrics, but there's nothing. It's six strings and maybe a harp.
Yeah, it's all. I think what that is just the melody. That's what people latch on to. So you really don't even have to have words. I mean, to have a really emotive or emotional connection, I guess, with music. That's what I felt anyway when I would start to listen to instrumental stuff. And I think what was so appealing about that too is I could incorporate that music into my life sort of in a different way than music with lyrics. So a lot of times the lyrics are telling you a story, and that kind of what becomes the centerpiece of the song or music. And when you have instrumental music, the centerpiece can become whatever you want. This I heard this song when my girlfriend broke up with me, and so there's an emotional connection with that, and that's what that song means,
Yeah.
Or whatever, just any sort of moment in your life you can attach these instrumental songs to, and I always loved that, So yeah, so I think just if you can come up with a good melody, that's the main thing that people are going to connect with, and that way, and what sticks with people, I think, in the long run too.
So while we're on the topic of this, Alex, is there anything you want to ask about a bit more dorky guitars before we get onto some stuff I understand?
Yeah, so what kind of influences do you have currently? are there any acoustic guitarists we should be keeping an eye out for, and any other artists?
Gosh, well, for me, as far as influences, I guess I just always go back to the same guys in in a big way. But I love Pierre Ben-Suzanne too. He's a French guitarist that is a really, really great player. He's been around for a long time and influenced tons of guys, and love him. But I guess but there are a lot of great young players too coming up. But as far as influence, I still kind of reach to those guys that came before. I unfortunately, I guess, and I hate to sound like a big critic or something, but I think there is a sort of a thing that's happened with the fingerstyle guitar, like that may be similar to what happened with the electric guitar, where it was like faster and better, and it's all about technique. And I do hear some of that, I think, going on with the fingerstyle thing, and that stuff doesn't really turn me on at all, to be honest. I think the compositions are what need to be focused on, and if it's a big showcase of amazing techniques, that's fine, but it doesn't really mean that much to me when I see some of that stuff. I think people are trying to outdo each other a lot, and sometimes that can be detrimental to the actual art of the music, I think. So, but having said that, there are definitely some young guys that are keeping it, true, and I think,
So when people hear fingerstyle music, but your music especially, what do you want them to feel? Like, what message are you trying to get across?
Well, I guess at the core of all music, I think music should be about is to remind people that we're all connected, and we're all the same. So and so when you're feeling an emotion through music, that should be a reminder to you that, other people feel this, we all need to respect that, that's the main thing I like to try to do with instrumental guitar music, is just, be expressive with it, and hopefully reach people and connect with them in a way that they understand where I'm coming from, and there's this sort of cycle, that we're all connected, because I believe we all are, we're all the same underneath all the BS that comes on top sometimes. So that's what I think music should be about. Absolutely.
It's like a universal language. So Blue Liquid, I heard, came across after you tuned your strings down for a flight. Is there any other song that jumps to mind that has a really interesting story behind it?
Let's see. Well, there was a tune on my, also actually on the Joyland album. It's the last tune on there called For Now. And I guess when I was writing that album, I just felt a lot of stress and pressure. It was kind of the second album that I released since all the big YouTube thing happened, And so I joined this new record label, and it was like, oh, we got to get this record done so we can get it out there, and da-da-da-da-da. And so I just felt a lot of pressure at that time. Every recording I'd done before that was like, taking my leisure, kind of. And so since my career took off, it was like, okay, we got to get a record out, da-da-da. So anyway, it just kind of came to me like in an hour or two. I had written that tune, and just felt like it was a big release because it was wrapping up the album, and was happy to finally get that sort of stress out of the way.
No, there would be heaps of pressure.
So, as a fingerstyle guitarist, what do you think I should do to get my music across now?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, all I can kind of tell you is what I did, and before the big YouTube thing even happened for me, I had competed in a few guitar competitions. And there's one in Canada, and there's one here actually in Kansas. And the one here in Kansas is the International Fingerstyle Guitar Championship. So it's kind of the big one.
Yeah. I reckon we should fly, us over there. I'll be support for you guys, and Alex going to give that a shot.
Well, it's I competed in that like in 2000 and 2001.
Yeah.
Did well there, and made some connections. Even just going to those sort of things, you meet other guitar players, and if they like your stuff, they'll be like, hey, you want to come over to this place and we'll do a couple gigs, And when I did the Canadian one, I met Don Ross, who was, big influence for me. And he invited me to open shows for him in Canada and Germany. And I was invited to play like in Taiwan in 2003 after I did well in this guitar competition, you know, and so I played there and I met, you know, a couple Japanese guys and a Belgian guy who were also touring. They invited me to their country. So, you know, it was like, it's just kind of like making connections and, meeting these people that might be helpful to you, you know. So all those things kind of started to happen, and I felt like I was starting to make progress, you know. And then I joined a label called Candy Rat Records.
Yeah.
They shot these, you know, videos 10 years ago, and of course that got my music everywhere.
That went off. Insane.
It really was. I mean, we had no expectations on that thing. It was like it was like a new website. Even YouTube was new at the time, and you know, maybe we could reach some people that are into the acoustic guitar if we put some videos on here, you know, that kind of thing. But it just went viral, you know, and so that really helped a lot. So, you know, taking advantage of social media, you know, have a YouTube page and all that, you know. But at the same time, I think it's probably harder now to break out on YouTube than it was back then. I mean, it was a new platform, and you know, there weren't 10 billion guitar videos on there, so I feel like the timing was really lucky for me too on that. But you know, still videos still go viral, so you know, if you put something out.
It reaches 2 kids in South Australia, so I reckon you're doing okay. Hey, look, I'm going to put you right on the spot here, but this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity for us to be sitting here with you. Is there any chance for an encore?
Sure. You want another harp guitar tune? I've got the harp guitar here, I guess.
Yeah, why not? Well, what do you want to do, Andy? Up to you.
Let's see. Well, I got to tune this thing here. I'll go ahead and do, if I don't break a string, on the...
Happens to the best of us.
Especially when you're going through altered tunings, man.
I get scared. I just hand my guitar to Alex and be like, you do it.
Let's see, yeah. Down there. I'll put this one. I'll do the, I was thinking I might do the first song I ever wrote on the harp guitar.
Sounds like a good idea.
This is a tune that I wrote after I went out to California for the first time. And I'm from Kansas, which is in the middle of the United States. And so when I saw the ocean, I was really impressed and wrote this tune. So try to capture sort of the vibe of the ocean with this tune.
We both love the ocean here, so we're pretty excited about this.
Cool.
My favorite songs.
All right. So I hope you dig it. It's called Into the Ocean.
does it have to end? I didn't want that to end. I just was like, I hope he's not finishing. And then, oh, that was amazing. I actually like feeling quite emotional with it. Like, thank you so much for doing that. It was like, Alex, so this is my favourite song. So that's pretty special that we're able to just sit here in South Australia and like watch Andy McKee play. Hey, what apart from taking our Aussie guy and going on tour, what are your other plans for the future?
Oh well, I'll be taking about 6 or 7 months off next year from touring so much. I've really ever since my career took off, I've been touring a lot. So one thing I've noticed is it's been harder for me to feel creative and actually come up with new music with touring so much. Some guys it's not a problem, but for me, it's just kind of a struggle. You're out driving to the next city and you do the gig and then you're back in the hotel, and I mean, I just most of the time don't even feel like picking up the guitar in the hotel room a lot of times. So I've come to the realization that I just need to take time off from the road when I need to get a new album out. So I'll be taking like 6 or 7 months next year of not really touring that much. I might go and do like a festival here and there, or if there's a gig that pops up that's important to do or something like that, I'll go do. But so yeah, I'll be finishing composing and recording next year and spending time with family. I've got a wife and two little boys too, so it'd be nice to kind of have that time to chill out a bit with the family too, and then get a new album out probably in the second half of next year and tour probably for a year and a half, pretty hardcore, and then maybe repeat that cycle again. So,
well, I've heard like if you need a pretty relaxing place for you and your family to come, Australia's okay. So maybe think about that.
Especially South Australia.
Yeah,
it's really nice down here.
Like right in the middle, south, or like
I don't
east
know.
or west?
I don't even know geography, so I don't know where we are. But
Right down towards the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
we've got
Cool.
really nice beaches, and
Good wine.
we're gonna. Yeah, good wine. You can come. The Barossa's got really good wine. Hey, I'm gonna hand it over to Alex for any last things and just pick your brain for last advice, and then we'll have to say goodbye.
All right.
Nah, Alex.
Yeah, I don't really have anything. I just
Fair
thank you
enough.
so much for letting us talk to you. You're a massive inspiration for me in my playing, and so yeah, thank you so much.
Well, thanks for telling me, man. I never get tired of hearing that I've inspired someone. So thanks for telling me, man. And it's been a pleasure to be on today. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Andy. We'll stay in touch, alright?
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. See ya.